Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about Venus retrograde. I love talking about Venus because Venus is the planet that really brings love into our lives. It is the planet of relationships. And this Venus retrograde, especially in the signs it's going to be in, is huge. And if you're in a relationship or you're yearning for a relationship, you're going to want to listen to this message that Venus is here to bring us with its journey or cycle in the sky. It's got an amazing cycle. When you learn a little bit about the astronomy and the numbers with Venus, you're going to have the same attraction and affiliation with Venus that I have. So before I continue on, remember you can sign up for my free newsletter delivered to your email address every single week by going to galacticcenter.org. And while you're at my website, please notice I have some amazing things going on. I have a monthly magazine, Joni Patry's Astrology Insights. Check that out. And I have the Shooting Stars, which is a profound group of spiritual people that come together every week. And what we do is we talk about ways to empower ourselves spiritually, metaphysically, and most of all, it is a community of like-minded people where we learn how to grow and work together and what it takes in this world to manifest our dreams. So that's that. And don't forget, I'm starting my brand new semester 1 classes from the University of Vedic Astrology. It starts July 26th. So check it out. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com if you want to learn astrology. And I'm going to give you some deep insights about Venus here in this talk. So Venus is going to turn retrograde July 22nd at around 4 degrees of Leo, sidereally. That's the Vedic sidereal positions. And it will turn direct on September 3rd at 18 degrees of Cancer. But this whole retrograde cycle of Venus, it happens every year and a half, 18 months, that Venus will go retrograde. And Venus is the planet that actually stays retrograde with all of it combined less than any other planet. But its whole process is truly amazing. And let me tell you, the Mayans were really keyed into Venus. They put so much of their predictions on planet Venus and when it became a morning and an evening star. So let me explain some of this in case you don't or you're not familiar with this. Now, Venus will enter the sign of Leo July 7th, and it will turn retrograde July 22nd. It will be around 4 degrees of Leo. So the month of July, Venus is slowing down in order to where it comes to that place where it stops and then turns reverse on July 22nd. Now, the month of July, you're going to see Venus. Well, actually, it started in June. And June and July, you're going to see Venus, this bright, huge object in the night sky. Because when Venus slows down to go retrograde, it's closest to the Earth. Did you know that planets are closer to the Earth when they turn retrograde? And because of its closeness, it looks brighter. You're going to go, what is that airplane? What is that in the sky? And you're not going to realize it's Venus because it's a planet. It's so large. But it is an evening star, which you can see it in the night sky. And pretty much June, and by the time of July 20th, it will reach its peak of brightness. And it's not always seen in the night sky, but you're going to be able to see it June through July. And on June 4th, Venus is actually at its longest distance from the sun, which from the vantage point of Earth, Venus can only be the furthest away from the sun in a birth chart is 45 degrees. So it's in its longest elongation from the sun around June 4th. And then it begins to revert and turn backwards. And then you will see it less and less of the time in the night sky, where it will become a morning star. But a few weeks before, let me give you some of these dates to pay attention to, because it's going to be very interesting to watch this whole phase of Venus. As it starts to turn retrograde, and this is always when it becomes a morning star and an evening star, is always around the time that Venus goes retrograde that this all occurs. So what you're going to find by the beginning of August, the first few weeks of August, all of a sudden you won't see it anymore. It's going to disappear completely. And actually the Greeks thought that Venus was actually gone, but the Mayans knew exactly when it would appear and disappear. They make so much reference to the evening and morning star. So the first 2 weeks of August, it will disappear. But by the 13th, give or take a day, around that time, Venus will re-emerge as a morning star, whereas before it was an evening star, so you won't see it in the night sky anymore. And you may start to see it around the very early morning hours. So you're going to see that Venus becomes a morning star. And this is so significant, truly a morning and evening star. But another thing I want to make reference to is that Venus, for the most part, is going to be in Leo and Cancer. So it's going to be retrograding, and you're going to find that when it is in Leo, for the most part, Leo is the sign where it deals a lot with relationships. In Vedic astrology, the nakshatra Purva Falguni is the marriage nakshatra, and so is Uttara Falguni. So this makes reference to, while it's retrograde, it's going to be in Cancer part of the time too. Let me give you these dates so that you'll know. So Venus will be in Leo till August 7th. And in August 7th, remember it turns retrograde the 22nd of July, so it reverts back, and by August 7th it goes into Cancer. And then it will turn direct on September 3rd at 18 degrees of Cancer. And once it starts to move forward again, Venus will enter Leo October 1st. But it won't be into the nakshatras of Purva and Uttara Falguni till inwards into October, and you will find that it's going to be in the Falgunis and those nakshatras that are the marriage nakshatras, Purva and Uttara Falguni. So you're going to find that Venus, the planet that deals the most with relationships, is going to be extremely active in its retrograde phase. And let me just say a little bit more about the astronomy. So Venus stays retrograde for approximately around 40 days, so around 6 weeks, every 18 months, right? And for 2 weeks after the retrograde cycle begins, then it will vanish from the sky, pretty much around 2 weeks after. And it stays out of the night sky for at least 8 days to 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you start to see it again. I'm just saying visually, this is what you're going to experience. So what happens is, in this cycle, Venus, when it becomes an evening star, it's in an inferior conjunction, which means it's going to conjoin the sun, but it's on the inside of the Earth and Venus and Sun. Then when it's on the superior conjunction on the other side of the Sun, that's the superior, but this is going to be the inferior conjunction And that is when Venus is an evening star, because otherwise you can't see it. So what does this mean and represent? I'm talking so much about the cycle of Venus, and I've got lots more to tell you in the end about the cyclic pattern of Venus. But I want to give to you some meat that you can take from this, that you know it's going to mean for you personally and globally for the world. Venus is the planet of attraction. It's the planet of beauty. It's the planet of everything that rules beauty, such as flowers, perfume, makeup, all the things, clothing, fashion. That's all Venusian. The arts, everything to do with artistic pursuits, creation. And remember, Venus is all about creation, whether it's the creation of the birth of new children, pregnancy, or if it is the creation of beautiful art or writings, any literature, movies, creation. This is Venus. It's the power to create. So this beautiful planet that rules beauty and attraction, and more than anything, love and relationships. Venus is the natural ruler of Libra and Taurus. And Taurus is about nature and beauty, while Libra is about love and relationships. That's Venus. So Venus is this planet that rules our relationships. And as it goes retrograde, it will bring back any kind of unresolved issues in love. Because when planets are retrograde, it brings something back that you have to be reminded of to heal or work on. And yes, Venus retrograde, as I've said many times, does bring in old relationships, old flames. They come back during this time, but by the time it's processed, you realize usually why that relationship didn't work out. Now, it is possible that it can come back and you can see why it didn't work out, therefore heal it. But generally as a whole, it usually brings it back and you realize why the relationship didn't work. Because you learn so much. You heal in Venus retrograde. Now, it may not even be just about a love relationship. Venus can deal with deep, dark emotions that you've been feeling. These can be brought up for you to heal and learn from. This is really important. This is the message Venus gives us. How can we learn? How can we learn about love and relationships? But always remember what I tell all of my clients and students. It's truly self-love. Because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect other people to love you? The fact of the matter is, it doesn't work. So if you come from a place of love, and I don't mean ego love, but just the love of yourself, who you are, in terms of the beauty of love, then you put out the vibration and the energy that you deserve love. Because remember, relationships are all about a reflection of ourselves. And that's where we get the message of what we need to heal in our relationships through love relationships. And Venus right now, retrograde, is going to give you this information. Please be open and see what it has to teach you. Because I always tell everyone, if you're in dysfunctional relationships and you don't learn why you're attracting that, you'll always have to come back in another lifetime and repeat it till you learn. We're here learning about the true essence of love with Venus. And that starts with the respect, appreciation, and love and gratitude for yourself. If you have these, then you're going to attract a beautiful, loving relationship that mirrors what you feel about you. Remember, dysfunctional relationships, battered women or men, that can even happen, they attract those partners because there's something in them that says, I don't deserve love. So they attract a partner that will mirror that to them. But when you come from a place I deserve and I am lovable and I love to love, that's what you're going to get back. So bear that in mind. This Venus retrograde has so much to teach us. Love is everything. Love is what heals. That's what we're here to learn. And we're here to learn that it always comes back full circle because it starts with you. And you are your world. And that's where you have the power to change and heal it. So in this cycle, this whole retrograde cycle, when Venus disappears, before it becomes a morning star, it's there, it's completely out of sight. And then it comes back, so you see it disappears. And this means a rebirth. During that week or 2 weeks before it becomes a morning star in August, I want you the first week or so of August, the first few weeks of August, and then by around the 13th, when it becomes a morning star, I want you to go into meditation and ask what you need to learn and heal around your issues of relationships. This is a huge opportunity, especially since Venus is in the sign of Cancer when it turns direct. And that is the sign of security. And then it's going to go back into Leo, which is the sign of the open-hearted love. It's going to be in Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttara Falguni throughout the month of October. And this gives us the opportunity to experience true love. Mark my words, this is a meaningful time, extraordinary time to learn about you, yourself, and love and relationships. That's what Venus is all about. I love this. So there's another, as I said, I wanted to talk about something else with Venus that is so amazing, and that Venus has a cycle of exactly 8 years. And what I mean by this cycle, in the process of it going retrograde and direct, it will turn retrograde direct and line up with the Earth in the same way 5 times within this 8-year process. And each time it creates a point of a 5. It's like it said, Venus forms this beautiful pentagram in the sky with this whole process of its cyclic process of retrogrades 5 times within that 8-year period. And it's called the Pentagram or Petals of Venus. And this represents so much because in 8 years, each time it lines up, it's around the same degrees and the same time of year it was previously. So every 8 years, just about, it returns right back to where it was. Almost the same degrees in the same period of time, such as the summer months. I went back to 2015. And yes, Venus was retrograde around the same degrees in Leo and Cancer in 2015. So this beautiful pentagram, and think about what the pentagram represents. It is the Star of David. It is the Star of Power. It's used in Wicca ceremonies. But it's actually a beautiful spiritual symbol. Just because it's used in different religions doesn't mean anything. And actually, it was used throughout the world in Japan and in China as well, the pentagram. That five-pointed star. It is a powerful symbol of spirituality, of truth. And what I think that truth is, it's around Venus ruling love. Because as I said, love rules all. It is the planet that heals all. It's very, very interesting that in Vedic astrology, Venus is the king of the asuras, which are pretty much like the demons. And Jupiter is the devas, the king of the devas, which are the angels, pretty much, not exactly, but it's interesting because things aren't really as they appear. There's a whole Vedic myth I won't go into around the asuras and the devas that I think is powerful, that pretty much says the way things appear may not be exactly the way they are. So with Venus making this pentagram in its full cycle that takes 8 years, going back to 2015, what happened? You know, that was pretty much, this is the one thing that came to mind, that was the time period that the whole presidential nominations were coming about for the 2016 elections. And I hate to make this anything about politics because everybody gets so negative and writes all these terrible things according to their opinion politically. Don't do that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to make some astrological sense so we can understand things, not just start voicing your political whatever agendas. So it was in 2015, I think, that Trump came on board. So here's my prediction. Because that was where that all kind of started, this means someone else is going to come on board. There's going to be someone new to the political scene, because that's what happened in 2015, no matter what you think or feel about Trump, good or bad. That's not my point. My point is somebody new will come during this time that will make a big shift. Get everyone all excited, in other words. I don't know who it is yet, but we will see, because this cyclic's telling us somebody's coming on. Something big is about to happen, because in 2015, that's what happened. And this is going to be, this gives me a lot of hope. This gives me a lot of hope because, not about politics, that's silly. What I'm talking about, although it will create something like that, that people will get all up in arms about. But what I'm talking about is you personally. I'm talking about you and me personally, that now is the time to heal ourselves, to come from a place of love for ourselves so that we can heal our relationships. Because when you do that, that is when you're going to heal your relationships, because Venus cycle is all about the power of attraction, relationships, and love. And it is time that we learn to love. And love is truly unconditional. I'm not talking about if you do this for me, I'll do that for you. I'm talking about really coming from the heart and opening your heart and understanding yourself and understanding your power to love. Love yourself and love others. This is what the Venus is all about. And go back to 2015. What happened for you? Because this is the same energy of this Venus retrograde that's about to happen this July and August. Get ready, go back, visualize, because it's going to be the same energy and lessons, and you have the power to heal it once again. I love Venus. So with that, I think I'll close. Get ready, get prepared. And remember, if this anywhere spikes some interest in learning astrology, my class, my beginning semester one's going to begin July 26th. Don't miss this beginning class. And come together with community, a community like never before, like-minded people that love astrology. So check it out. It's on my university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.